It's Tuesday, September 3. In the headlines in local news, smooth reopening of schools reported so far. Weather alert, strong tropical wave to move across Jamaica. In business news, Mayberry chairman urges small investors to seek growth in tough markets. Regionally, in Belize, parents fill in during teacher shortage. And in sports, 14 Jamaicans to compete in World Athletics Continental Silver Tour. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Brittany Clark. Jamaicans are being urged to prepare for the effects of a strong tropical wave currently located in the Eastern Caribbean Sea. The system is According to the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, this area of disturbed weather has a moderate chance of developing into a tropical cyclone over the next few days. The Met Service says strong gusty winds are anticipated across Jamaica, particularly in the southern parishes as the system approaches the island. Fisherfolk and other marine interests are advised to exercise caution as sea conditions are expected to deteriorate. Periods of showers and thunderstorms, which may be heavy at times, are forecasted to affect sections of most parishes, especially in the eastern and south-central regions, beginning early Wednesday and continuing through Thursday afternoon. On Monday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, accompanied by Transport Minister Darrell Vaz and Education Minister Favour Williams, visited the Halfway Tree Transport Centre to experience firsthand the daily commute faced by students and parents travelling from Halfway Tree to Papine using the Jamaica Urban Transit Company buses JUTC. During the visit, Education Minister Favour Williams spoke to the media, stating that the reopening of schools across the island went smoothly, with no reported disruptions. Minister Williams also assured that she will be closely monitoring the progress of schools island-wide.
Today, I say it's the first day of the new school year, and children all across Jamaica are making their way to school. Many of the schools are along the route that we're traveling now, JC, Mona High, Mona Heights Primary, going up all the way to Papine High School and so on, many schools. So far this morning it has been smooth, early in the morning yet. But we haven't had any reports of issues.
The reported smooth start to the new academic year excludes those schools mostly across southern parishes that were severely damaged by Hurricane Beryl. Stuart Jacobs, the president of the National Parent-Teacher Association of Jamaica, also reported that apart from some minor inconveniences caused by the passage of Hurricane Beryl, the first day of the academic year was a success.
For the most part, the day went very well. Most of the schools had their orientation today, and it turned out fairly well. There were just a few hiccups with the schools that were adversely affected by the hurricane, and so you had some students who normally would be going into an enclosed regular classroom. They had to be housed on the tents, or they had to be the sessions for the day were shortened so as to accommodate a next group coming in. But it shows the versatility of the school administrations, the different schools administrations, so have gone ahead and made those things possible. So no school was totally or in any way adversely affected.
Ocherius Primary marked a new chapter at the start of the 2024-25 academic year as it transitioned away from the shift system, becoming one of the schools to do so lately. During a ceremony on Monday, Education Minister Favour Williams announced that 3 additional schools will also move to a single shift schedule by the end of this year.
This year, Ocherius Primary School will be joined by Noggerhead Primary, Bridgeport High, and Papine High in the transition off of the shift system. Achieving these 4 schools will mean that by the end of this year, we will have only 27 schools left to D-shift. We're coming from 38 when I sat in the chair at the Ministry of Education and Youth, September 2020. We will get to 27 by the time we end this year.
Errol Green has taken up the role of Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Wellness effective September 1, 2024. According to the ministry, Mr. Green assumes this role after service in the public health sector as Regional Director of the largest health authority, the Southeast Regional Health Authority, SERA, for many years, which oversees health services in Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Thomas, and St. Catherine. Jamaica and other countries around the world remain on alert for cases of the Mpox virus as the World Health Organization is working to stem the spread. More cases of the virus have been reported in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenya, and other African countries. According to the WHO's Situation Report, updated on August 30, the region of the Americas, with 64%, contributes the largest proportion of cases, followed by Europe at 27% and the African region 5.4%. WHO's Director General, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, says his team is working to accelerate access to and delivery of Mpox vaccines.
The safety and efficacy of vaccines are our highest priority. We will not take shortcuts. Yesterday, we also invited manufacturers of Mpox diagnostics to submit an expression of interest for emergency use listing. It's vital to stress that although vaccines are a powerful tool, they are far from the only tool. There are many things that WHO and our partners are doing to prevent and diagnose infections and treat the sick.
If you have high blood pressure, the force of the blood pushing against the artery walls is consistently too high. The heart has to work harder to pump blood. This condition is called hypertension or high blood pressure. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, 1 in 3 Jamaicans are hypertensive, 35.8% women and 31.7% men. Let's learn more about this non-communicable illness from the World Health Organization.
Today we're going to talk about hypertension or high blood pressure. How big is the problem? What exactly happens in your body when you have hypertension, and how can you protect yourself? And here to talk to us about it is Dr. Taskeen Khan. Welcome, Taskeen. Talk to us about hypertension. Why is it called the silent killer?
Thank you, Vismita. I'm quite excited to talk to you about hypertension. And the reason why it's called a silent killer is because it's completely symptomless. So what you described with your mom walking around perfectly okay and then suddenly finding out that you have high blood pressure. And high blood pressure leads to deadly conditions like heart attack, stroke, kidney disease, but it's completely symptomless.
So Taskeen, how big is this problem of hypertension?
Actually, it's very common. It affects 1 in 3 adults globally, and yet only 1 in 5 people are actually controlled for their blood pressure. We've actually estimated at the WHO that we can save 76 million lives by 2050 if we can increase control rates globally. That's about the size of South Africa, Vismita.
So Taskeen, how did I do?
You did very well. This top number is your systolic blood pressure, which is actually when the heart muscle contracts or beats. And this bottom number is your diastolic blood pressure, which is when your heart muscle relaxes.
So explain to us what exactly happens in our body when we have high blood pressure.
There are vessels in your body called arteries, and these arteries carry oxygenated blood to your organs. When hypertension occurs, it thickens these arteries or makes them stiff or has little clots in them. And those clots actually travel to the heart or the brain and cause heart attacks and strokes.
Taskeen, give us your top tips to manage high blood pressure and also to prevent it.
Of course. So the first thing is to start off like your mom did, seeking medical care, going regularly to the doctor if you are diagnosed with hypertension, and taking your medication as prescribed. Personally, Vismita, my own grandmother has hypertension. I diagnosed her and I put her on the same medication that the WHO guideline actually has. Really good recommendations there. And also, if you think about your lifestyle, I like to think about it in the 4 S's. So if you're smoking, please stop smoking. Reduce sodium or salt in your diet. Sleep is very important for the blood pressure, and of course, reduce your stress.
Wow, let's see if I've got the 4 S's. First one, stop smoking. Take less salt, that's the second S. Sleep more and pay attention to your sleep quality. I'm trying to do that personally. I'm slowly getting there. And what's the 4th one?
Stress less.
Stress less. That's easier said than done. But that's all we have today in Science in 5. Until next time then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stick with science.
Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Jamaican-based regional outsourcer ITEL, with an existing labor force of 2,000 employees, is adding to its workforce by 2,000 additional employees. This expansion in the BPO operator is based on ITEL acquiring 2 high-volume clients. One of the new clients is a growing logistics and transportation business. The account will see new seats added to ITEL's Kingston business processing outsourcing business. The second new client is a U.S. retail giant, which will lead ITEL to engage in restructuring and expanding its current support services, moving its service delivery to Montego Bay. Mayberry Investments Executive Chairman Christopher Berry encouraged small investors to look for growth in the marketplace that he deems difficult. In the prospectus for the latest offer by Mayberry at 10.75% for a minimum investment of $20,000, Berry states, it can be difficult for smaller investors to find opportunities to make decent returns on their savings. For instance, real estate has gone on a multi-decade run-up. For the small or young investor that is looking to make their money work for them by investing in real estate, it will typically need a minimum investment running well into 8 figures. There are, of course, ways for small investors to attain exposure to real estate, but they will typically need to either accept lower yields than if they owned the investment property themselves, or accept higher risk from a leveraged financing structure, Christopher Berry stated. During trading for the period of September 3, 2024, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. PVC pipe manufacturer Omni Industries Limited with 188,698,195 units represented 93.62% of the market value in terms of sales. Pharmaceutical and medical products distributor R.A. Williams Distributors Limited with 1,896,972 units represented 0.94% of the market value in terms of sales. Investment firm Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 1,286,322 units represented 0.64% of the market value in terms of sales. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the stock market, we turn to the Forex market. On September 2, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $47.01 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $45.05 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $158.47 and bought the US dollar for $155.70. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $2.77, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $1.93 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $115.52 and bought for $117.45. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $6.23, selling it for $208.21 and buying it for $201.98. For our credit report tip of the day, we continue to look how you can recover from the back to school shopping season that put a dent in your wallet or your purse. Now, we know the increasing cost of school supplies, clothing, extracurricular activities can mean you're going to borrow to cover some of those expenses. But you can rebuild your credit score and prepare for your next financial milestone, whether it's buying a car, renovating your home, or qualifying for a mortgage. So we offer you this idea. Pay down high interest debt first. If you relied on credit cards for back to school expenses, prioritize paying off high interest debt. This will free up more cash in the long run and improve your credit utilization ratio. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, in Belize, a teacher shortage is affecting some schools due to various reasons, such as delays in processing teaching licenses and teachers leaving the profession for closer jobs to home. This has left schools struggling with vacant teaching positions and parents going the extra mile to ensure their children are not drastically affected. News 5's Marian Ali reports.
How many of you are happy this morning? You are happy? Yes, I'm all right.
It's the first day of school at Our Lady of Lourdes RC in Mascal Village. The children are excited to be back, but this year is not like previous years because there is a shortage of teachers at the institution. The 9 teachers who are at the school must do their best to ensure that the 200+ students in their custody receive optimum quality education, regardless of the deficiency. Principal Herman Ramirez says they'll have to figure it out.
We principals out here, we fill the vacuum. Okay, whenever a teacher is absent, whenever a teacher is missing, the principal takes on that role and goes into the classroom and does what the teacher should have been doing. Yeah. In this case, though, it's quite different. We have a shortage of 3 staff. One at the preschool, which is very critical at this time because preschoolers normally are, they give a little bit of trouble to settle down, and it requires more than just one teacher to be there. So we're short there, we're short at standard 2, and we're short at standard 5. So I'll be moving between these classes to ensure that we have everything that we need in terms of resources, printing material, activity sheets for the children, and so on, so that the teachers who are there assisting can find it easier.
Kim Myers has 3 children attending classes at Our Lady of Lourdes. All 3 are affected by the teacher shortage, and this means she'll have to go the extra mile with her kids.
Well, I usually check their school bag to see if any homework, then sit 2 hours with them to complete their homework and thing. So they can.
Yeah, and then now with the shortage, what you have to do, you think?
Well, have to sit down more longer, be one-to-one with them.
For Adrian Graham, he will also have to pinch hit as educator for his son, who has entered Standard 2 and has no homeroom teacher.
There'll be teachers substituting for other classes, and within that time they'll have to find work to give these kids and things to keep these kids' minds, occupied in that time. And that's where we as the parents would come in, because maybe there'll be time where they don't have the time to teach the lessons in full. And so us as parents, the communication that this school brings to me and my family is superb. So, they keep us up to date on the WhatsApp, give us phone calls if needed, and they tell us what type of homework, should in case the kids doesn't take it home. We know what homeworks, are there to do, and they give us opportunities to, coach our kids as well. So yes, I think it is a challenge for both the parents and the teachers, but then again, that's a parent's job and that's a teacher's job for us to come together to make sure our kids succeed.
Earlier today, Minister Francis Fonseca explained that the Ministry of Education has processed the majority of certificates for teachers to get their licenses, so that should not be a problem for teachers who want to return to the classroom.
No teacher has been denied a license or rejected from a license. What the ministry has always done is put that application on hold, because teachers have to apply for their license, and then contacted the teacher and say, how can we work with you? So those teachers who we have heard publicly talking about, they made a decision that they would resign, or they would, It's not because the ministry removed them or rejected them. The ministry is always prepared to work with individual teachers. How can we work with you on your records, on getting your requirements in place? We provide them with options and alternatives. We're always prepared to do that.
Principal Ramirez hopes that the problem will be solved soon.
We're trying very hard to try and get teachers that will stay here in this community. Yes. Like I mentioned before, it's very hard for anyone to venture out to Mascal and have to figure out how to live in and teach, and that is the part that's becoming a little challenging. But up to date, we are hoping that we will have the vacancies filled within a couple of weeks, if not a month, the very latest. But we have candidates who have expressed their desire to get into the teaching field, and they have other degrees in other areas. So we are going to try and see if we can move up and get the ministry to facilitate the process.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
Creole is set to be formally introduced into the infant-level curriculum at selected schools. The phased approach to this new initiative was announced by St. Lucia's Education Minister Sean Edward during his back-to-school address for September 2024. HTS News Force has the details.
Infants will be learning and practicing the island's mother tongue for the 2024-2025 academic term. September in St. Lucia marks the opening of the school year, with some students embarking on a new journey. Educators are ensuring that the next generation keeps the heritage alive and relevant.
We are formally introducing the Creole language, Creole, into the curriculum on a phased basis at the infant level in selected schools. Additionally, the Mandarin language program at St. Joseph's Convent and St. Mary's College, supported by the Embassy of the Republic of China, Taiwan, will be expanded to include the Vieux-Fort Comprehensive Secondary School. The introduction of Creole will help foster an appreciation for our rich cultural heritage, enrich our students' linguistic abilities, and broaden their global outlook.
Education Minister Sean Edwards says TVET is at the center of the government's educational reform. He lists the 4 new schools that will offer industry-standard curricula and facilities.
These schools fall under the broad nomenclature of St. Lucia TVET Institute and are differentiated as follows. The former Stanley John Odlum Memorial Secondary School is now the Stanley John Odlum School of Arts, Media and Design. The former Grand Riviere Secondary School is now the School of Sustainable Agriculture and Culinary Arts. The Angers Secondary School is now the School of Innovation and Technology. And the PI Secondary School is now the School of Construction and Heritage. At the mentioned schools, the traditional classroom settings of benches and desks have been replaced by modern barbershops, state-of-the-art kitchens, construction workshops, etc. Graduates from these schools will be ready for immediate immersion into the workforce.
Security is also a top concern of the Education Ministry.
And we are investing an additional $500,000 to enhance safety measures based on last year's security audit. This includes installing perimeter lighting, increasing security personnel, fencing, and upgrading camera and alarm systems. Over the past 3 years, our government has facilitated over 1,000 bursaries and scholarships for higher education. This is in keeping with our goal of having at least one university graduate per household. The South Louis Community College and the National Skills Development Center, NSDC, will benefit from a $15 million injection to address skills shortages and enhance employability of citizens with an increased focus on the youth.
Government officials say that they remain committed to incorporating technology in the learning process, evident in their one laptop per student initiative. The Education Ministry is also investing heavily in the early childhood education sector, with some $2,500 contributed to private preschools. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.
As schools across Guyana reopened for the 2024-25 academic year, Education Minister Priya Manikchand delivered a message to all learners, parents, and teachers, urging them to embrace the new school term as a fresh start. More in this report.
This was the scene in Georgetown as several schools in Guyana reopened after a 2-month closure for the July-August vacation. This is the start of the new academic year, and Education Minister Priya Manikchand had a message for all learners, parents, and teachers.
It's a new school term. It's a new school year. I would encourage parents, students, teachers, put behind you what's past and treat this as a clean slate to take these children forward, to make them into productive young people who can reason for themselves, who can filter information from misinformation, who can learn the subjects, mathematics, English, Spanish, and who can enjoy each other and learn each other. So we have a really blank canvas, a blank slate here to begin and do much with. And I hope schools, teachers, HMs, parents, students, pupils, that they take that opportunity to do that.
Some schools in Guyana did not reopen due to ongoing rehabilitation work. During this week, Minister Manikchand revealed that some schools will send teaching materials for students.
It's 1 week. In some cases, teachers are doing that, but in some cases, the kids are going to turn out next week. It's a very small number of schools.
The ministry, in collaboration with the Ministry of Local Government, manages and operates 1,196 public schools, including nursery, primary, and secondary, as well as 24 dormitories. For the newsroom, I'm Isanalo Patwo.
In sports, Jamaica's Rajendra Campbell and high jump finalist Romain Beckford are set to compete at the World Athletics Continental Silver Tour meet at Stadio della Corsa in Italy. Olympic bronze medalist Campbell and Beckford have competed at 2 most recent Wonder Diamond League meets in Silesia, Poland, and Rome, Italy. The two are among 14 Jamaicans down to compete at the meet today. That's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.